In a quiet park in Charlotte, North Carolina, 16-year-old Aaliyah Carter faced a group of bullies who taunted her with racial slurs, unaware that her two trained military dogs, Shadow and Titan, were nearby. When the situation escalated, the dogs sprang into action, stopping the aggressors in their tracks with disciplined ferocity, turning a moment of fear into a powerful lesson in courage and protection. Aaliyah Carter grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Charlotte, where her family had lived for 3 generations. Born in 2009, she was the only child of Denise Carter, a postal worker, and Jamal Carter, a retired Army veteran who now ran a small security training business. Aaliyah was a junior at West Charlotte High School, known for her quiet demeanor, straight-A grades, and passion for track. She also volunteered at a local animal shelter, where her love for dogs deepened. Her father, having served 20 years in the military, including time with K-9 units in Afghanistan, had trained Aaliyah in dog handling from a young age. Shadow and Titan, 2 German Shepherds, were retired military dogs adopted by the Carters, trained to protect and obey precise commands. On a warm Saturday afternoon in April 2025, Aaliyah took Shadow and Titan for their usual walk in Freedom Park, a sprawling green space popular with families and joggers. She wore her track team hoodie and carried a backpack with water and treats for the dogs. The park was busier than usual, with a youth soccer game nearby and vendors selling ice cream. Aaliyah kept the dogs on short leashes, as she always did in public, their military training evident in their disciplined strides. As she neared a wooded trail, 3 teenagers, 2 boys and a girl, all around 17, approached her. They were known at school as troublemakers, often disciplined for harassing classmates. The group, led by a boy named Ryan Mitchell, had a history of targeting Aaliyah with subtle jabs about her race and her studious nature. Today, their taunts were overt, laced with racial slurs and mocking comments about her dogs. "Think you're tough with those mutts?" Ryan sneered, stepping closer. His friends, Jake and Emily, laughed, egging him on. Aaliyah stayed calm, a skill her father had taught her under pressure. She warned them, "Back off. My dogs are trained, and you don't want trouble." Ryan ignored her, tossing a stick toward Titan, trying to provoke a reaction. The dogs, sensing Aaliyah's tension, shifted their postures, ears up, eyes locked on the group. Aaliyah gave a quiet command in German, Platz, signaling them to stay put but alert. The situation escalated when Jake grabbed Aaliyah's backpack, yanking it from her shoulder. That was the trigger. Aaliyah issued a sharp command, "Fast!" the German word for attack. Shadow and Titan lunged forward with precision, not biting but positioned themselves between Aaliyah and the bullies, baring teeth and growling low. Ryan froze, his bravado gone. Jake dropped the backpack, stumbling backward, and Emily screamed, backing away. The dogs held their ground, waiting for Aaliyah's next command. A nearby jogger, witnessing the commotion, called park security. Within minutes, 2 officers arrived, along with a small crowd of onlookers. Aaliyah recalled the dogs with AUS, and they sat instantly, still watching the bullies. Ryan, Jake, and Emily, visibly shaken, tried to deflect blame, claiming Aaliyah had set the dogs on them unprovoked. But the jogger, a middle-aged woman named Linda Harris, corroborated Aaliyah's account, having heard the slurs and seen the backpack grab. Security detained the 3 teens until police arrived. Aaliyah explained the situation, emphasizing the dog's training and her commands. The officers, familiar with military K-9 protocols, confirmed the dogs acted within bounds of controlled defense. The bullies were cited for harassment and released to their parents, who were contacted at the scene. Aaliyah's parents arrived soon after, Denise comforting her daughter while Jamal inspected the dogs, praising their discipline. Word of the incident spread quickly. A bystander had recorded part of the encounter and the video, showing the dog's swift response and the bully's retreat, went viral on social media. Posts on X hailed Aaliyah as a hero, with hashtags like hashtag K9 Defenders and hashtag Aaliyah's Guardians. Trending locally, local news outlets picked up the story, interviewing Aaliyah and her family. "I wasn't trying to hurt anyone," Aaliyah said. "I just wanted them to stop." The bullies faced consequences at school. Ryan, Jake, and Emily were suspended for a week and required to attend counseling on bullying and diversity. Their parents issued public apologies, with Ryan's mother admitting he'd been struggling with peer pressure. The school held an assembly on respect, inviting Aaliyah to speak about her experience, though she declined, preferring privacy. Aaliyah's dogs became local celebrities. Jamal's security business saw an uptick in inquiries about K-9 training, and he began offering free workshops for teens on responsible dog handling. Aaliyah, initially overwhelmed by the attention, found strength in her parents' support and her dog's loyalty. Shadow and Titan, both 5 years old, had served in military operations before retiring due to minor injuries. Their training included scent detection and protection, making them ideal guardians. The incident prompted community discussions on racism and bullying. Charlotte's mayor commended Aaliyah for her composure, presenting her with a Youth Leadership Award. The park implemented stricter anti-harassment policies, and local shelters saw increased adoptions of trained dogs, inspired by Shadow and Titan's actions. Aaliyah's school life changed subtly. Classmates who once ignored her now approached with respect, some asking about her dogs. She joined the debate team, finding her voice and advocating for equity. Her track coach noted her renewed confidence as she broke personal records that season. The Bullies' transformation was slower. Ryan, reflecting during counseling, wrote Aaliyah an apology letter, which she accepted but didn't respond directly. Jake volunteered at the animal shelter Aaliyah frequented, hoping to make amends. Emily, quieter now, avoided Aaliyah but stopped her taunts. The Carter family grew closer. Jamal shared stories of his military days, explaining how dogs like Shadow and Titan saved lives overseas. Denise, proud but protective, ensured Aaliyah had counseling to process the trauma. The dogs, ever loyal, remained by Aaliyah's side, their presence a comfort. Months later, a national pet magazine featured Aaliyah and her dogs, detailing their bond and the incident's impact. Donations poured into Jamal's business, which he used to fund a K-9 therapy program for at-risk youth. Aaliyah began training a third dog, a young shepherd named Luna, under her father's guidance. The story resonated beyond Charlotte. Advocacy groups invited Aaliyah to share her experience at youth summits, though she often sent pre-recorded messages, still shy of a spotlight. The viral video inspired similar stories of trained animals defending owners, from Texas to New York. 2 years on, in 2027, Aaliyah graduated high school with honors, accepted into NC State's veterinary program. Shadow and Titan, now aging, retired to a quieter life, though they still accompanied her on walks. The Bullies, now young adults, had moved on, Ryan to college, Jake to a trade school, and Emily to a job in retail, each shaped by the incident's lessons. The park encounter became a local legend, retold in schools and community centers. It sparked initiatives like Pause for Peace, a program pairing trained dogs with vulnerable teens. Aaliyah's courage, backed by her loyal dogs, proved that standing firm could turn fear into triumph. Aaliyah's upbringing was steeped in discipline and love. Her father, Jamal, had served in the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, working with K-9 units in high-stress environments. After retiring in 2018, he started Carter K-9 Solutions, training dogs for security firms and families. Aaliyah, at age 10, began learning commands like sit, bleed, stay, and fast attack, mastering them by 12. Shadow and Titan, adopted from a military program in 2020, were her constant companions. Shadow, black and tan, was intuitive, sensing moods, while Titan, all black, was the enforcer, quick to act on commands. Denise's role was equally vital. As a postal worker, she navigated diverse neighborhoods, building trust with residents. Her church involvement connected the family to community leaders who rallied after the incident. She taught Aaliyah to journal her feelings, a habit that became her blog. The Bullies, Ryan, Jake, and Emily, came from varied backgrounds. Ryan's father, a car dealership owner, pressured him to excel, fueling his need to dominate peers. Jake, from a struggling family, clung to Ryan for status. Emily, dealing with her parents' split, lashed out to cope. Their actions in the park reflected learned behaviors, challenged that day by Aaliyah's resolve.